The captain secretly poured some liquor into his juice, and nobody noticed. He poured another bottle in and then threw the empty bottle into the trash. He drank the spiked orange juice in one gulp. The chief flight attendant smelled the alcohol but was already used to it. Only the first officer, who was working with the captain for the first time, was shocked. The captain, now drunk, had already fallen asleep. Fortunately, the plane had been flying smoothly and was about to reach its destination. The first officer took over the controls to prepare for landing. Suddenly, the cabin jolted, startling everyone except the captain, who had just woken up and looked calm. The first officer realized that the elevator was jammed. The captain ordered the chief flight attendant to calm the passengers first. But the next second, the plane began to plummet vertically. The flight attendants who hadn't made it back to their seats were thrown out of them. The first officer tried desperately to pull the deceleration device, but it was no use. All 102 passengers held their breath. The captain contacted air traffic control to report an emergency landing. But at the current rate of descent, the chances of a safe landing were zero. To slow down the descent, they dumped the fuel and even jettisoned the fuel tanks. But the situation didn't improve. The overhead luggage compartment was accidentally opened. A flight attendant got up to deal with it but was knocked unconscious by the sudden turbulence. As the buildings below got closer and closer, the captain made a bold decision. He was going to turn the plane upside down. The first officer was shocked, but the captain quickly twisted the plane's direction, and the cabin began to tilt slowly. With the help of the first officer and the chief flight attendant, the captain successfully retracted the landing gear. At just 800 feet above the ground, the plane was successfully flipped. The flight attendant who had been knocked out fell onto the ceiling of the plane, and a little boy was thrown out of his seat because his seatbelt had loosened. The flight attendant, seeing this, left her seat and did her best to get the boy back in his seat. Otherwise, any further turbulence could have cost the boy his life. Although flipping the plane stopped the descent, the plane lost power because the fuel tanks were gone. It couldn't make it to the airport, and the engines caught fire one after another. The captain decided to find a place to land nearby but needed to turn the plane back to its original direction first. The flight attendant who had left her seat to save the boy was knocked out again before she could return. The cabin was in chaos. Fortunately, the plane was successfully turned back to its original direction. But by then, both engines had lost power, and the plane was gliding. Suddenly, a church appeared in the open field ahead. Despite the captain's efforts to tilt the plane, one of the wings still hit the church. At that moment, the captain was out of options and could only watch as the plane crashed into the ground.